Thank you so much, Emma, for that presentation that you've just done for us today in the meeting. Just in regards to some technologies that we will be using tomorrow for Health Awareness Day and the way we'll be using these to complete the tasks. So as you know, I'm Melanie, your supervisor.
And I will be speaking from your colleague's perspective, and my name is Sala. First of all, I just wanted to commend you on your efforts and your presentation yesterday. It was amazing, but we will be giving some feedback just to improve some things in the future.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to speak about is the word processing and use of electronic diaries. So, Sala, if you wanted to talk a little bit about the word processing and what was effective and what maybe was not so effective.
Definitely. So overall, I just wanted to commend you on your word processing, specifically the poster that you produced. It was very engaging, very informative, and overall good job. It was extremely well done. My only advice for the future is to maybe, if you had time, incorporate a variety of different posters to target different family members or different audiences. Just if you have a little bit more time, definitely consider that. Otherwise, your poster and word processing was amazing.
Yeah, definitely some good points there, Sala. So the other thing that I did just want to touch on quickly was the use of electronic diaries. So I did notice that you have organised a prioritised work plan, which was amazing to see. I think potentially for next time, you could incorporate the use of an electronic diary. So having out the tasks that you need to do when they need to be completed in a prioritised order, but having them somewhere that is easily accessible by all team members. Something in an electronic format that all the team members can look at when they need to. But besides that, you've done a wonderful job in the prioritising.
I agree, Melanie. Good job.
Beautiful.
Okay, so the first thing that we'll be talking about today is the type of technology that you're intending to use for the day of the event tomorrow, in particular the camera that you're going to use. So I could see that you wanted to capture images of children and their families participating in all the activities throughout the day, whether that was watching the presentations, interacting with other children and their families, as well as receiving health assessment from the child health nurse. I also wanted to commend you on wanting to capture these images so that you could post them to all relevant social media sites, including, I guess, your website, Instagram, and Facebook. That is really, really beneficial for the organisation, and it's great to promote the event and really get the word out there.
Yeah, exactly, Sala. I agree with that. And one thing that I do really want to commend you on, Emma, was when you were speaking about maintaining the privacy and the confidentiality of all the attendees of the Health Awareness Day that we're holding tomorrow. So one thing that I really liked that you spoke about was getting verbal consent from all of the attendees. So that's obviously before you even take their photo, having their consent to have their photo taken, or posting their photo onto the social media site. So I just wanted to say good job on that. I think you did a really good job explaining that and explaining why we need to do it. Okay, so the next technology that you spoke about using for the Health Awareness Day was the phone, so in particular the main landline in the office of the Early Childhood Learning Centre. So you spoke a little bit about using this phone to provide follow-ups to all of the parents. So obviously you initially sent out an email, but then you did use the phone to call the parents if they hadn't yet responded. And also you spoke a little bit about having some of the administration staff manned at the front desk of the centre on Health Awareness Day, and so you'll be using the phone in that case to answer any last minute questions. If anyone's running late, they'll have means of communication with you. So I know Sala had a few points that she wanted to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, phone's a great way of communicating. It's a great way to stay connected with the clients and, speak directly and really inform the client to make sure that they feel comfortable and really well informed prior to the day of the event. Now with the follow-ups, I think that's a great idea, and phone's probably the best way to contact if you want a quick and fast response. However, with the follow-ups, maybe in the future have a certain number of follow-ups. For example, even say I suggest 3 follow-ups. You don't want to be calling more than 3 times or any less than 3 times. People don't always pick up and they're busy. So if you call them like 6 or 7 times, they might get annoyed and pissed off. People have families and kids, so they can be really busy a lot of the time, but leaving maybe 3 follow-ups, 3 voicemails, 3 really professional voicemails, just letting them know and touching base about the day of the event, I think would be a really good idea. But just saying follow-ups on its own, that's not really structured and organized. So yeah, definitely consider how many follow-ups and what kind of follow-ups you would do for the day of the event.
Yeah, definitely agree there, Sala. Another thing though, I really quickly wanted to commend you on was, yes. Yeah, so I'll just snip it out that one. That's fine, just a little quick cut. Yeah, definitely agree with you there, Sala. And one thing I did really want to commend you on was when you were speaking today, you did touch on the need for professionalism within all communication, whether that be with other staff members, families, their parents, etc. So yeah, you did speak about phone manner in particular, and that's one thing that I really liked. And as you said, obviously these are families that we know through the centre here, and you are going to have rapport with them already, but it is really important to maintain that professionalism. I also liked how you gave a little demo of how to answer the phone in a professional manner. I do think that's really helpful, because sometimes people forget that we are representing the organisation here at the Early Childhood Learning Centre, and we do need to maintain professionalism throughout.
Okay, so now on the topic of the iPad, overall, good job on your use of the iPad. Your intentions were great, I guess, to upload images to social media, websites, blogs, or whatever. I really don't have anything else to say about that. It's pretty straightforward stuff, so good job.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And one thing I did like that you spoke about was just letting all the staff members know that when they are posting on social media sites, that they're representing the organisation here. And some of the things that I like that you spoke about was making sure that any comments or interactions made by the organisation over social media must remain positive and respectful at all times, and ensuring that anything posted is not offensive or harassing or discriminatory at all, and just ensuring not to disclose any personal information. So obviously you are posting by the Early Childhood Learning Centre, but ensuring that all information is kept confidential and private, and just ensuring that anything posted does not cause any kind of damage to the organisation either. So I think you spoke really well about that, and that was really good to see.
I agree with Melanie, good job. Now, the last piece of feedback we have for your technology is how you use your printer. Overall, we don't have too much feedback. You did a really good job. I really like your effective use of constructing a poster which displays information about the Health Awareness Day. Great job. I also like that you used the poster and the health information I guess you presented that in bright colours. You use images, diagrams, as well as providing information. That really suits our target audience of families and children, and really, really engaging, so good job.
Yeah, so I agree with that, and I just wanted to say that I found it really commendable that you spoke about the organisational requirements and instructions when using the printer. So specifically talking about the workplace health and safety considerations, I guess, when you were speaking about ensuring that the printer was not too close to other staff members who are doing their work, because it could be noisy and distracting to those staff members, and also just ensuring that it was in a space that was not too cluttered, as the printer does tend to overheat. So yeah, just wanted to say good job on ensuring that everybody was aware of the workplace health and safety requirements when using the printer. So good job, Emma.
Good job.
All right, so following on from that, we just wanted to touch base a little bit about the use of emails. So you mentioned that you will be using emails initially to send out information to all the families regarding the upcoming Health Awareness Week, and then specifically you will be using the emails to book the session times for the children to get their health assessments from the child health nurse. So yeah, everything that you spoke about, I think you did a really good job with that, and Sala had a little bit of feedback regarding the organisational requirements.
Yes, so I did have some feedback in terms of privacy and personal information. So I did really like that you touched base and you kept in mind that when dealing with such sensitive and personal information regarding email addresses, children's names, personal telephone numbers, etc., we do need to ensure that boundaries regarding this information are put in place. I guess it's important to ensure that no staff members are giving out any of these personal information, and that there is a strict policy when communicating with families. Again, like Melanie mentioned earlier, when we were talking about phones, make sure you keep professional. It's important to keep professional always when communicating with families, whether that's, you know, speaking to them directly on the phone, face to face, and especially on emails, because you can't hear your tone and voice or anything like that on emails. It's a little bit hard to gauge how someone is actually feeling. I guess in saying that, always keep professional.
Yep, I did really quickly want to say I like how you gave a few guidelines for sending out a structured and professional email. So I know that you touched upon signing the bottom of the email with your name, signature, having contact details, having the company's logo or stamp. That is one thing I think that's really important, because that you are representing the organisation, and just sending off an email that says, hey, can you make it to the appointment? I just think that's obviously not going to look good for the organisation. So professionalism is a really big thing, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And, you know, it doesn't sound like much, but these little details really do make a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. So good job on that one, Emma. Very good work. So the next thing we want to speak a little bit about is internet research. So I do know that you have used the internet to research information that you're going to be needing for the health displays and all of the health presentations there. So you can tell that you've done extensive research on this. There was a lot of accurate information that you provided, and you can tell a lot of work's gone into it. So I just wanted to commend you on that. I think you did a really good job, Emma.
Yeah, I agree with Melanie. I could really see that there was a lot of intensive research that went into this and a lot of hard work. So good job, because that really does show. Just important information to consider, I guess, when researching and when taking, I guess, ideas from other people's work. Always make sure you reference. I feel like it's easy to get carried away with the workload and forget to do that. So yeah, just a little tip for next time.
All right, so I just wanted to speak a little bit about monitoring supplies of stock and reordering. So well, I'm just going to talk about it in the case of the printer. So obviously with the printer, you did speak a lot about the organisational requirements and the regulations there, and you did speak a lot about the workplace health and safety in regards to using the printer and all the other staff members, which was amazing to see. I feel like sometimes a lot of people don't consider that sort of side of things. One thing that I just wanted to talk about quickly regarding the printer was we saw a lot of using the printer on the day of the event, how that's going to run smoothly for the specific health awareness day, and that was all done amazingly. But Sala did think of another point that I think is really important as well.
Yeah, and I think not only just with the printer and, like, I guess the stock levels of paper and ink and all of that, just overall, when running a successful event, you want it to run smoothly, and, you know, your plan for the day of the event was amazing and very intensive, but a little bit more had to go on behind the scenes. I would have liked to see a plan of, you know, the things that you need, the requirements, you know, whether that just be food or drinks or, you know, paper and ink, just more things behind the scenes, because if you want an event to run successfully, you do really need a checklist with all of those things. And I guess especially at the end of the day, it's an organisation, so it's important to consider the budget. You don't want to be going over the budget for these events. So having that checklist and all of that in front of you will really assist in that.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we just wanted to say that obviously the day of the event and all of those considerations were well thought out. But in future, I think one thing that could be beneficial is to not just think about the day of the event itself, but also in future for the company. So you run the day really well. The use of the printer, the use of everything on the day was fantastic, but it would just be good. It would just be good to see a little bit of thought going into maybe after that day and like stock levels of everything that you're going to need after the day. But besides that, you did a really good job.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing we just want to talk about quickly was your knowledge of legislation, protocols, procedures, organisational requirements, and so forth. So in the meetings today, you did speak a lot about that, and I think you went into a lot of detail regarding these procedures and protocols. One thing that I really liked that you spoke about was the need for maintaining privacy and confidentiality, and you went into specific examples on these for every step, every task that needed to be done throughout the day. So I really liked that.
Yeah, and also you did a really good job at not only considering the protocols and I guess the legislations and privacy for not only the clients but for your workers, you know, the health and safety of your workers and clients, and the overall setup of the day of the event. Yeah, so you really did put in a lot of thought in that, and I don't really have much else to say. Overall, the workload and I guess the way you organise the day of the event to make sure that all deadlines were met was done really, really well. I like that you include SMART goals, and yeah, like you just had a really detailed plan, and you really knew what you were talking about and thought a lot about it.
Yep, so I can see that you put a prioritized work plan, and broken down each task into everything you had to do. And I also liked that you wrote down who needed to complete the task, whether that be one person, multiple people. So the plan for the day is really well set out and well executed. So we commend you on that. Good job, Emma.
Okay, so with your interpersonal, written and oral skills, I know that Melanie and I did have a few things we wanted to touch base on with that. Look, your overall presentation was really informative and you had great knowledge, but your communication style definitely does need some improvements. And I guess, Melanie, did you want to maybe touch base on how Emma could improve?
Yeah, of course. So as Sala said, like the research behind everything you spoke about and the written skills were amazing. So you had a lot of information, really well researched, really well executed. I just find that potentially in the way of the actual presentation itself, so the oral skills, I find that maybe in future you could be a little bit more engaging. I know that it was a lot of information to get through, but yeah, maybe even you could have some kind of involvement from the staff members. Your tone that you speak in, it sounded maybe a little bit flat at times. I know you were speaking for about 18 minutes all up, but yeah, I just maybe in future to sort of be a little bit more engaging if you can.
Exactly, I agree. And I guess one of the main things that I really noticed for me was, there was so much information and it can be tricky to, show expression and not be so monotoned when trying to ensure all this information is effectively communicated.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe a little bit more thought into the way you express how you feel when delivering this message.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, so they're just some things for future. Besides that, really well done. But yeah, if you just want to work on anything in the future, I think that's one thing you could definitely work on a little bit. All right, so the next point we want to speak about here was just the ability to prioritize work and meet deadlines. So as we touched on a little bit before, we know that you had a plan in place, all your SMART goals, prioritized list of tasks that needed to be done, and who needed to do them, and those were broken down into sections. So I think that just with everything that you did and all the amount of work that went into the planning, I feel like it's safe to say that the deadlines were met.
Yeah, exactly. And when using SMART goals, it's really hard to make sure that things don't go to plan and stuff. So overall, you did a good job.
All right, good job.
In terms of how you worked effectively with the team, you did a really good job. Nothing too much to say here. I noticed that, I guess, Melanie, you wanted to say something about this, I guess?
Yeah. So I think that you worked really well and really effectively within the team. I do know that you managed to share around the workload between all the staff members so that nobody was doing more than their fair share, and they made sure to fit in their tasks with the tasks that they already had to do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I agree, and I did notice that the workload was spread around evenly, and yeah, like we said, nothing too much to say, so good job.
Yeah, and it was good to see that if somebody felt as though they had too many tasks to complete in the allocated time, that you were there to help rearrange things, find a bit more time if necessary. So all around, just good job on that one, Emma. So once again, Emma, I just want to say thank you for letting us listen to your presentation today, and hopefully you've taken on board some of the feedback that we had to give you just for future, what you could do to potentially improve upon a few things. But all in all, I just want to say it was a wonderful presentation and great to listen to. And also, do not hesitate to come and ask myself or even Sala if you have any questions or want a little more detail on any of the things or the feedback that we provided today. But yeah, good job, Emma. So I just wanted to say thank you both, Sala and Melanie, for the feedback that you have provided just in regards to the information that I gave throughout the meeting for Health Awareness Day tomorrow. It was all very useful, and I'll definitely take it into consideration in future. So one of the first things that you spoke about that I could potentially work on was the use of electronic diaries. So you touched upon the need for having electronic diaries or something that is easily accessible for all staff members. So whether that be having my prioritized list of tasks that need to be completed for the day, everything set out with the SMART goals and the tasks that needed to be undertaken, that it would be useful to have something in place for all the staff members to access really easily. So yeah, calendars, the list of prioritized tasks, but yeah, I'll definitely take that into consideration for future when planning events or holding any activities here at the centre. So another thing that I noticed Sala mentioned just in regards to the use of technologies on the day and for planning, obviously, the Health Awareness Day here at the centre. Sala did speak a little bit about the use of the phone, the landline we have in the office, as far as the follow-ups go. So I know that one thing you spoke about, Sala, was not to overuse those follow-ups, and just to ensure that there's sort of structure around these. So potentially in future, I could have a structure around the follow-ups, you know, how many times to follow up, if someone's not yet responded to something, the space between these follow-ups. Yeah, just sort of have an organized structure to that so that I'm not bombarding any of the parents or their families with questions or follow-ups that I do need to do. So yeah, in future, I think that it would be good if I did have a kind of set structure around this. Yeah, so thank you for that feedback. So another really useful piece of feedback that that you guys gave me was just in regards to the internet research. So I know you touched upon the information that I did research just in regards to the health displays and the presentations. Obviously, all that information was sourced online off the internet, and a helpful piece of feedback that you gave me was just to ensure that anything that I have used from the internet that is in someone else's words or as someone else's work, just to ensure that I reference this, even though it is obviously just a health display for the centre. Anyone else's informational work does need to be referenced, so yeah, I'll definitely take that into consideration and ensure that I do that in future. Thank you. So another bit of helpful feedback that you gave was the monitoring supplies of stock and reordering. And I know that in my presentation in the meeting today, I didn't really touch upon that at all, but yeah, that was a bit of helpful feedback when you said to ensure that so in the specific example of using the printer, to just ensure that all ink levels, paper levels, toner levels, everything was managed, and that if anything else was needed, that I should try in future to record all of that and contact the appropriate person to reorganize those stock levels. So yeah, in future, it's definitely something I need to take into consideration to ensure that obviously everything on the day of the event does run smoothly, but also everything in future runs smoothly as well. So yeah, I'll definitely take that into consideration. So some really helpful feedback that I got from you guys was just in relation to my written, oral and interpersonal skills. Thanks so much for appreciating the hard work that went into all the information that was given at the meeting. I did try my best to research everything just in regards to the policies and technologies and what was needing to be done. But I do really appreciate the feedback given on the interpersonal communication and the way that I delivered the speech that I gave in the meeting today. So you guys spoke a little bit about the delivery of information, the tone and volume of my voice, and that I could potentially be more engaging in the future. So I'll definitely take that on board. I know that sometimes when I'm speaking for a long time, I tend to maybe have a bit of a monotone type of voice, all in one tone. So yeah, I'll definitely work on being more engaging in the future and just ensuring that the way that I speak is loud, is easily heard, and does have some inflection in my voice so that people do remain engaged throughout the entirety of the speech or the talk that I'm giving. But yeah, that was some really, really helpful feedback in that regard, and I really appreciate that. And I did just want to say thank you overall for all of the feedback you have given. It has been really, really beneficial to me and the organisation here, and I will definitely take it all on board and make the appropriate changes in future. So thanks again, Sala, and thanks again, Melanie. I really appreciate all that feedback you've given.